All right, everyone. Well, welcome so much. This is our first ever, actually, Inside AWAI. And the reason we wanted to do this was basically to open our doors and allow you to come in and ask questions that you have, whether you're new to AWAI or you've been around for a while. Katie and I, we're here. We're here for you, as is the whole company and all of our experts and all of our writers, but we really wanted to take some time just to be able to work with you directly. So thank you for joining us today. We thought before we open it up for questions, though, we would cover a few things that we know you might be wondering. So we are going to go over 5 things that we feel you must do to ensure your success as a writer this year. And then we're going to go through a couple of questions that we get a lot. There's about 10 that we typically see in the Q&A boxes anytime we do have Q&As with AWAI members. And so we're going to answer those questions first. And then if your question isn't answered, whatever your question may be, we're going to invite you to post it in that Q&A box, and then we will spend time at the end of this just answering your questions on the fly. So I'm the one speaking. My name is Rebecca Matter. I should have said that. And I am joined today by my awesome partner and one of the founders of AWAI, Katie Yeakle. Hi, Katie.
Hi, everybody.
Just a quick so you kind of know who's talking. This is Katie. She, like I said, is a co-founder of AWAI, as well as our executive director. And this is me, president of AWAI, and just resident cheerleader for all success stories, and really just love these opportunities to help individuals one-on-one. So we're excited to be here with you. So let's go ahead and dive right in with the 5 things that we think you need to do this year to be a successful writer. And Katie, why don't you go ahead and start?
Absolutely, I'd be happy to. And there's a clue in the question right here. To be a really successful writer, really the most important thing you can do is write, and that's write every single day. So I encourage you to do that any way that you can think of. I encourage you to do that in a regularly scheduled environment, and I encourage you to think of it as your special time, really, honestly. And the reason we say this is by writing every day, you are training your muscles, you're training your mind, you're training everybody in your world that, yes, I'm a writer, this is my time, and I need to do it. And I want to add to that, while you're writing every day, it's really important to also read as much as you possibly can, to have as much input coming in, to have as much fodder for ideas and for the sparks that are going to drive your writing. So that's my first tip, and every time you hear Rebecca or I talk publicly like this, we end it with write every day. Just can't say enough how important that is.
And I'm going to head off one of the questions that I'm sure is going to appear in the Q&A in just a second, and that's, what do I write every single day? It can be anything. Ideally, something that helps you practice the type of writing that you're hoping to make a living from. But we actually just put together, Katie, that report, that 31 writing prompt report.
Yes. Oh, let's give it away.
Oh, I love that. As we go through this, I've got a piece of paper out, and Katie and I do this a lot. So whenever you're on with us, we tend to just give you things for free. Good encouragement to come join us for future. So I'm going to start a list, because I'm sure that through all these questions, we're going to identify a lot of solutions that we know exist on the AWAI site or that we have access to. And so, Katie, I'll just start a list, and then when we're done, when we send out the recording, all the things that we've come up with, we'll fill them as well. So I'm adding 31 writing prompts to this. So everyone, this is a free report that will give you basically 31 things to write about, so you can kind of get moving. And it talks to you about this idea of writing every day and how much to write and learning when to write and that kind of stuff. So we'll give it away to you for free.
I see one question's popped up that I just want to jump on right now. And Hugh is answering, we don't have a name here. Should the daily writing be done by hand, or is it fine to type? Now, I'm so glad you asked that. And for this, what I'm talking about here, this daily writing, definitely type, whatever you're most comfortable, whatever your most go-to way of writing is. If you like to take out a yellow pad and write that way, that's great. But this is about productivity. This is about getting into the habit of writing every day. I think the reason why you're asking if it should be by hand is because you are in the accelerated copywriting program, and one of the first assignments that we give in that is to actually hand write out some classic sales letters. And there's a whole strategy and reasoning behind that particular exercise. And while I love that and encourage that, that's not exactly what I'm talking about here as far as building success habits. That's a different skill set that you're working on there. But I'm glad you asked the question.
Cool. Next up.
Okay. Yep. The next thing is, again, you know, if we know where we want to go, we want to end up at the writer's life. So the first thing you need to do is figure out what path you're going to go on. And I can't tell you how many AWAI members that I've spoken to that this has been a big stumbling block. And I think if you can figure this little piece of the puzzle out, it's going to give you a path, it's going to give you markers along the way, it's going to give you direction, and it's going to alleviate, you know, what could be overwhelm or what could be paralysis. And the thing is, you know, some people get scared by that, like, you know, I don't want to be married to writing for the health market, or I don't want to have to do this forever or that forever. This is just to get started. There are going to be other gateways that open along the path. There's going to be other paths that you take. But, you know, in order to make movement, you have to start with one foot in front of the other. And, you know, some of the ways to get started doing that, you know, things that we've seen other people in your situation do, or, you know, at the same place on the path do, is, you know, think about your past experience and your interests. Now, you know, what groups do you belong to? What companies do you buy from? What companies do, you know, what websites do you go to? What do you like to talk about? What do you get passionate about? You know, these are the things that should be the first line in when you're thinking about what path you want for your writing career. Because it's just so much easier if you have some knowledge, some experience, if you speak the lingo, if you understand what's important in this world. And then also, while you're doing this, it's just as important to think about what kind of copy you don't want to write, what kind of writing you don't want to do. If you know that you just flat out, you know, have no interest in financial copywriting, well, you know what? Eliminate it. That's not even on your radar right now. But if you are interested in self-help, let's say, you know, that's such a big, wide world. Start narrowing it down. What experiences do you have that lend yourself to that? And, you know, a goal to have in mind is to think about this for yourself. I want to be a blank type of copywriter writing blank types of projects for clients in the blank industry. So one example is I want to be a health copywriter working on special reports in the health industry, or I want to be a SEO specialist, SEO copywriter, writing for small businesses, or, you know, writing landing pages for small businesses. Rebecca, anything to add to that?
Just that when we say path, we've got a couple questions here, like, you know, do you consider writing for my blog a path? When we say path, you know, AWAI is the company itself is a training organization that teaches you how to make a living as a writer. So we're going to teach you how to be a copywriter, how to be a resume writer, how to be a grant writer, a travel writer, whatever the path that you choose if it's AWI teaching you, it's usually a path where you're looking to make money from it. So if you're going to monetize your blog, if your goal is to have a blog and actually make money writing for your own blog, absolutely that's a path. But otherwise, if that's just a hobby, I would put that more into the writing everyday bucket. That's your practice. Your path is actually what kind of writing business do you want to be in? Do you want to be a copywriter? And if so, what kind of copywriter? There's lots of opportunities for copywriting. Do you want to be a grant writer? Do you want to write resumes? There's so many paths that you can choose, and there's never been a better time to be a writer. Because there are just so many opportunities. I know, Welton, you asked a question about the opportunity in the changing landscape because of the web, and does that hurt, the future million-dollar copywriters? No, because there were never really, the number of million-dollar copywriting opportunities, that's a small elite group, and those people will continue. Can you make $1 million? Sure, but that's not the majority, nor do the majority of us even think that that would be a possibility or want that. That takes a lot of work, a lot of time. That's heavy, but the opportunities for writers because of the internet, yes, it has changed the landscape, but the internet has brought out way many more projects. Companies now, back in the day, we could mail one direct mail package. We could hire a copywriter, he writes a package, maybe next quarter he writes another package, and we were fine in business. Now, that same copywriter is still writing that sales letter, but now I have to publish content every day on my website and social media campaigns. I have to have a website with thousands of pages and landing pages and upsell pages and order devices and ads that link to those pages and on and on and on and on. I now have to become, no matter what business I own, I have to become this publisher. And if I manufacture widgets, that's my business. I know widgets really well. I don't understand content and social media and all these copywriting opportunities. And that's why the opportunity is so big for writers right now, both individual to make a lot of money as a writer, but also the volume of writers needed. At AWI, every single week, we're churning out dozens of pieces of copy. We employ, at any given time, dozens of copywriters because we need to have all of that copy. And we are a tiny little company of all the companies who need writers. So long story short, well, to answer your question, I think the opportunity has never been greater for the reasons we've discussed. And to close this point down with choosing a path, it's how do you plan to make a living? What kind of writing do you want to do in exchange for money? There's lots of opportunities online on AWI's website. We talk about all of them. If you can make a living at it, we have sought out the expert. We know how to do it. We know what works and who's doing it and how to do it well. You just have to choose. On our list of free things to give you, I'm actually going to post an article on the page when we send you the recording as well on how to choose your path. So that in and of itself can be a challenge. You have all these great opportunities, great. It's never been a better time to be a writer, great. What's the right path for me? So we'll definitely help you focus on that. And just closing out what Katie said, there's no wrong choice. Just choose something to get started. If 6 months in you decide, you know what, this isn't for me, that's okay. You can always change your path, but now you have 6 months of experience that you can apply to your new path instead of being at day one and having just waited 6 months and having zero experience. At least you checked one off the list and said, I've tried it, didn't like it. We'll move on to a new one.
Rebecca, just 2 questions that I think are really relevant to paths, so I just want to jump on them while we're talking about it. Karen's asking, what if I have multiple paths? How do I get my arms around the real viable opportunities for me versus all of the fields I have to choose from? And there's a couple other questions along those lines as, within a big topic, how do I narrow down and find the best path? So
are you going to answer that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we both can give our insights, but I'll jump in. And as far as having multiple paths, I do think and someone else was just asking, I have experience in this, but I'm not really passionate about it. What I'm passionate about is travel. So I think we can kind of touch on all of those in this one little mini conversation here. As far as multiple paths, I think it's always best to pick one, figure out which is probably the most viable or where there's some opportunity to get a little bit of traction, It's, you know, it's that whole power of one. It's focus in, knowing that those other paths are still options for you. Like Rebecca was saying, you know, you can always change, but I do think it's important to, you know, do one thing at a time. Otherwise, you just get too scattered. Give one your best shot, and then if that doesn't work, or if it leads to what so often happens is you'll start down one path, and then, you know, it may lead to another that you may not have even known existed. And now, you're going to post that one article, but Pam Foster talks a lot about niching yourself and this whole process. I bet we have some articles from Pam we can make available, don't we?
Absolutely, and we're going to talk about niching in just a second, actually. We'll get into that a little bit more. Actually, let's just go ahead and move forward to that, because I do think that will answer the question. So when you think of path, though, again, it's just choosing a path to get moving down. In all of those cases, those were a lot of niche-type questions, but the path is still copywriting. You've decided you want to be a copywriter, great. Start moving down the copywriting path. The basics, you know, get the foundation of skills, the basic being, if you're in the AWI world, it's our accelerated program for six-figure copywriting. That's your foundation for copywriting. If it's a different path, then again, just take that path and start moving down it. The point of this number 2 is just to give yourself some focus. It's very challenging to pursue 6 different types of writing at the same time, because you only have so many hours in a day, and you can only learn a little bit about 6 subjects. So you picture yourself taking baby steps forward in 6 different directions, baby steps forward. Whereas if you were to focus on one, you could take a giant leap forward in the same amount of time and actually start making a living, at which point then you can add on another path. It just allows you to make forward progress and make decisions for yourself instead of getting caught up in the bright, shiny objects. What about this? What about this? What about this? Just pick a path. There's no wrong answer, but pick it, move forward, commit to it for at least a while. I usually say 6 months, and just give it its best shot. Which leads us to the next one. So for those of you choosing copywriting, do you need to pick a niche? Do you need to specialize? The answer is going to be yes. You don't have to, but I'm going to give you some reasons why you should. One, it will allow you to market yourself better. It will be a lot easier for you, let's say if you specialize in health copywriting. If I ask you, give me 20 companies that you want to work for, it will be way easier for you to give me a list of 20 health companies than if you're a generalist. And I say, give me 20 companies you want to work for. How do you do that research on Google? How do you identify companies? It's difficult. So it allows you to market yourself better. In addition, when marketing yourself to companies, it allows you to have a higher perceived value, which means you're worth a lot more to the company. I use the example of solar technology. If I'm a solar technology company and I have 2 copywriters in front of me, one specializes in solar technology and the other is a generalist, who do you think I'm going to pay more? I'm going to expect to pay the solar technology copywriter a lot more, but I'm also going to expect to get a lot more because that guy specializes, or girl. That person knows the jargon, they have the experience in the industry, they're really tuned in to my prospects and what I'm trying to do with my business. So I'm going to expect better quality work. It may or may not be true. The specialist might not be the stronger copywriter, but that's the one I'm going to hire, and I'm going to expect to pay them more. Their value is way higher than the generalist. And then finally, when working on projects, it just makes it easier. If you have a health project and a financial project, you sit down and do the health project, you do all the research, you get to know the prospect, you really work on this project for 2 weeks, you live and breathe health, and then you close that project, and then you start the following week on your new project in financial, you have to do all that work all over again. Whereas if you had stayed with another health project, you could have reused all of your research. You would have already been tuned into the prospect and who the people are and what their pain points are, and it would make it a lot more efficient. So choosing a niche helps you market yourself, it helps you have better perceived value to your clients, and it helps you just work more efficiently. Because like Katie said, you're going to be doing a lot of reading, not just on your copywriting skill set, but also in your industry. You're going to want to be reading the trade publications and the websites and being involved. And so it makes it a lot easier to pick a niche. Now, for those of you asking the question, and Denise, you can go ahead and clear all the questions that have to do with how do I know if this niche is profitable, because I'm going to answer it now. The best way of doing it is there money being exchanging hands? So when you're doing your research and you're asking the simple question I'm going to niche myself, and this is what I'm thinking. Is this a profitable niche? The first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to Google, and you're going to try to look up just companies in the industry. So look for lists, lists of pet companies, lists of pet food manufacturers, whatever your thing is, you're going to look that way. Then you're going to reverse it, and you're going to look from the perspective of the customer. So let's say you are passionate about health for people who are 55 plus. You will put yourself in the shoes of a 55 person who has a health issue, who's researching online. You'll go to Google and you will type in something like exercises to improve or to stop osteoporosis, supplements to deal with prostate issues. Whatever the challenges are at that in that demographic, in the person that the company, so the niche that you're trying to go after, the companies that you're trying to write for, what are they selling and who are they targeting? All right, they're targeting 55 plus people who have these issues. Go and do the research from that person's perspective, their customer. You will be targeted. And those companies who are targeting you through the ads and through their websites, the people who show up in Google, those are potential companies. Go to their websites. If they look high quality, if it seems like there's a lot of people buying advertising in Google and really good websites, and you start jotting down a list like, oh my gosh, there's a lot of companies in this space, you found a good niche. As long as there are people in that space targeting people and selling them something, not just providing information, but truly like they're selling them something, and you can see that happening, and you can see that they have quality marketing. Their websites look good. It looks like you would buy something from them. Then you know that they're a potential candidate for you. And if you're doing your research and all of a sudden your list is 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 companies, you know you found a profitable niche. So we're just looking for where is the money exchanging hands. If you can find companies that are selling something, then you know that there's enough of a marketing budget. Even if you're not writing the sales copy, you know that they have a marketing budget and that they're going to be valuing good writers and good copywriters. So yes, pick a niche. Number 4, learn to market yourself. So this is one that every time we say, market yourself, sell yourself, everybody says, I don't want to do that. I became a writer because I want to write at home by myself. I don't want to be out there. I don't want to be talking to people. It's just part of it. Even if you are an author, if you're a fiction writer, you're still selling yourself to a publisher. You're still having to get your book out there. Same goes with copywriting. Yes, you will be able to there are marketing strategies that are for for introverts, the people who don't necessarily want to cold call. You don't have to sit there and call people, but you're going to have to learn how to market yourself. You're going to have to learn how to promote yourself with a website or engage in social media groups or just set yourself up so that clients can find you. There's lots of different ways to promote yourself, no matter what personality type you are. There's a way. We have this great program by Nick Osborne called Marketing Confidence. For those of you who are just totally in the dark and have no idea, there's lots of great content on our website, and I'll post a few articles when we follow up with this. There's a great program called Marketing Confidence, and in that program there's a series of training videos called Love Your Marketing, and it's amazing when people go through this. Usually the reason why you fear marketing yourself is because you don't understand how to do it. It's like this unknown thing in it. So it sounds scary because you just don't know what it is. But the way Nick lays down and shows it to you, by the end of the series, you're just doing it. It becomes natural and you love it. It's because you love your niche and you love your messaging and you love the idea that you get to help people now. You're passionate about this industry and you want to write about it. And so it just becomes a natural thing for you. So that program is called Marketing Confidence, and there's tons of stuff online on our website about it too. The only thing I want to say about this is just start learning the different ways to market yourself. You don't have to do anything that you don't want to do. There are so many ways to promote your business thanks to the internet that you don't, as shy as you might be, as fearful as you might be of selling yourself, as fearful as you might be about rejection, there are so many ways that you can market yourself that will minimize or eliminate all of those fears. So it's just a matter of learning which ones they are, choosing the ones that are right for you. And when I say choosing the ones that are right for you, Joshua Boswell is a great AWI success story. He's on our website. He's such a great teacher of getting clients. But he always says the best way to market yourself is the thing that you're going to actually do. So don't listen to anybody else, what people are saying, what they're doing, what feels good to you. And again, you can learn, I'll post a list with this playback, but learn how to market yourself and then do something every single day. It can be super small, just, you know, updating your about page on your website or writing a new sample, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, but just anything that moves you forward. So you're always going to be learning new skills, but you want to be doing something to build your business. Following up with somebody, putting one more feeler out there, doing a little bit of research. Spend one day researching the next 20 companies that you want to work for, whatever it is. If you do just a little something every single day, you'll be amazed at how fast you move forward with building your business. And then finally, our fifth tip before we go over to the questions, although we are answering questions as well, the fifth one is knowing your value. You are providing an incredible value to the companies that you work for. You're not doing them a favor. This is not, you know, even if you're brand new and have never taken a dime for writing, what you're doing is adding revenue to their bottom line. You're basically helping this company grow and getting their message out to their customers and providing solutions to people who have problems. They're looking for a solution. They're looking for a product or service or company to help them. You're helping connect somebody who has a problem with somebody who has a solution. And the companies that you're writing for, you are literally adding money to their bottom line. Without you, their company does not exist. You can't think of a company nowadays that doesn't have a website with a ton of pages that has to keep posting content. All that's written by writers. Social media, all that's written by writers. And then the sales messages, the emails and the sales letters and the order devices and all that other stuff. It's all written by writers. And without you, they can't sell their products. And that's what they're in business to do. You're helping them do what they're intending to do. You provide an incredible amount of value. So it's important that you understand that even when you're brand new, you're not going out saying, hey, I'm brand new, will you give me a chance? No, I provide a service. I'm showing you proof, and we're going to talk about samples and how you can do that. But here's me showing you that I have what it takes to add to your bottom line. And here's what it's worth, and here's what it's going to cost you. Now, the pricing thing, I know a lot of people get tripped up on price. How much can I actually charge, or what are the going rates? We publish a pricing guide every year, and we just came out with our 2016 one that we send to marketers so that they know the ranges that they should be expecting to pay quality writers. And I'm adding it to my list. We'll post that on the playback page as well.
Don't you feel a little bit like Oprah? Like just
I do.
Everybody gets a pricing guide. You get a pricing guide.
It's kind of cool running the company, right, Katie? We just get to give stuff away.
Exactly. And I have something to add to this, but so just before you go on to the next thing. Oh, the other thing I want to point out that a lot of times new writers don't get until they're actually in it is being a writer, working with a client, that whole thing, it's not an adversarial relationship. It is very much a collaborative relationship. So you're part of the team. They need you, you need that. It's very collaborative. And it's not like they just say, okay, go, you know, make us a bunch of money and then come back, you know, we have this idea, you go off and write copy and then, you know, and then that's it. That's part of the joy and excitement and fun of this business is the back and forth and working and brainstorming and understanding the how things work and trying different things. If this works, this does better, then you know, the whole testing process that's such a big part of our world. So again, I think once you actually experience and understand that you're part of the team and that part of the team is very valuable, just like all the other parts of the team, I think it kind of shifts your perspective a little bit and also just makes you feel better about the whole thing.
Very good. So, Katie, why don't you take us through we just had a couple, I know we only promised you 5, but we're rarely good at limiting ourselves, so here's a couple more.
Yeah, you know, this is very important, and I can't stress this enough, that you are now the CEO of your business. You are in business. You're not doing a hobby. And the sooner you start thinking in those terms, the faster you're going to have a profitable business, because that's what we all want. So launch your business. So whatever that means for you, if it means setting up a website, if it means, you know, just telling everybody that you meet that you're a copywriter, whatever, if it means setting up your office space so that it's your dedicated time when you're there, that's what you're doing. You know, think in terms of what do I'm running this business, what do I need to be successful? You know, what education do I need? What skills do I need? What support do I need? What resources? You know, figure that out, come up with a budget, come up with a plan, all of those things that you would do if you were running a business, and then figure out, okay, what do I need to do to be successful? But having that business mindset, I think, is very important. This is a tough one for a lot of people, balance learning skills and business building. You know, the learning's fun, you know, and I shouldn't say the business building part's fun too. You know, once you get over the hump, if that's a hesitation for you. But it is very important to keep a balance there and not spend all your time learning and being, you know, the very, you know, best, because I'll tell you, you're never going to be done learning. That's another wonderful thing about this business is there's so much to learn, and it's changing all the time, and it grows and it flows and all of that great stuff. So, you know, you do need to get the foundation, learn the skills, keep honing your skills, but you need to, it goes back to the first thing, build your business as well and constantly be aware of that and thinking about that and making sure that there is a balance. Have a plan to follow every week. You know, and actually this will be coming on Monday, so we won't, or actually it'll be coming next week. Will Newman has an article coming out in the Writer's Life where he blocked out his actual writing schedule and how he balanced, he was still working at the time, this is his schedule from when he was starting, and how he scheduled his skill building with his business building with his life. So that, I think that's next Friday in the Writer's Life, so be on the lookout for that. But, you know, if you don't have a plan, then you're probably not going to build anything. You know, Rebecca and I meet every Monday, and we talk about what we're doing for the week. You know, I mean, I think it's not just every week. It's, you know, you have a big plan, then you break it down into monthly goals and weekly goals and daily goals. But that kind of discipline and habit just will serve you well. Another big thing that you know, happens frequently, and it's part of life is, but, you know, chances are you're going to get distracted, something could come up, and you may fall off the path, as we say. You know, you may close up shop for a little bit and be concerned about getting started again. You know, just get started again. It happens, and if you need a little push, you'd be happy to, anybody in member service would be happy to talk to you, and just like Rebecca and I, you know, it happens, don't let it, life's surprises take away this amazing opportunity for you. This is huge. We have the best community of writers and marketers and of all different levels and skills, and just the AWAI team as well. This is your family. These are, I always like to say, kindred spirits. You know, these are people that get why you're on this call today. They get why you're taking this path and putting this investment in yourself. And, you know, many of them are either right where you are, and as much as we love celebrating successes, we love, you know, cheerleading and helping people take the next step. We have a very active Facebook group, the forum, you know, at our events. Our events are like old home week, even if it's the very first time you come. And just a warning, if you are planning on coming to boot camp, you know, plan on being hugged. It just happens.
We're huggers.
And we're huggers. But it's really kind of a core value of our world is this sense of community and sharing and helping. You know, we're with you for as long as it takes for you to succeed, and we have this, you have access to this amazing support system, so be sure to take advantage of that. And, you know, lastly, if you need some help, let us know. We can't know unless you ask us, but if you ask us, I guarantee you we're going to have lots of ideas for you. You know, we'll tell you, you know, we'll tell you what you want to hear, or maybe not what you want to hear, but we'll help you solve whatever problem you're having.
I'd like to sidestep for 1 second to answer 2 questions that I'm answering a lot. Going back to niches, for those of you who have working experience and you're saying, I have 13 years of this kind of experience, is that a good niche? Absolutely. If you are happy in the industry and you like that information and that field, that's going to be your easiest way of getting started, to stay in the industry that you're in, even if that's just a short-term strategy. So, you know, I've had 10 years of insurance experience. I'm going to work as a copywriter in the insurance industry for the next 2 years, at which point my dream is actually to write in the financial industry. And then I'm going to make the switch because now I have 2 years of writing experience that's going to be relevant to the financial industry. That's going to be a very easy path. Now, if you hate your industry and if you have to read another word or write another word about it, it's just going to make you scream, that might not be right for you. You know, you might want to start looking at your interests and your passions instead. But for those of you who have professional experience, it is the easiest path if you stay in your lane and you stay in that industry, at least to get started, because you can leverage all of your professional experience as a copywriter. Even if you have 0 copywriting experience, as long as you've taken our course or you have some foundation, you can do the job. You can say, I'm a copywriter in this space. I have 10 years of work experience in this industry. Doesn't matter that it wasn't as a copywriter. Just think of it again from that the client's perspective. You and I are up against the same job. I have 15 years of copywriting experience. You have 15 years of solar technology experience, but 0 copywriting. Who do you think they're going to hire? It's going to be you every day of the week because you know the jargon, you know the industry. I have no idea what solar technology is and who's buying it and how to sell it and anything like that. So it would take me so much longer to get up to speed. So if you have great background, use it, leverage it, and promote yourself as an expert in that space simply because you understand the industry. I also want to make a point.
One more thing, just real quick. You know, and even if you're not a writer in your present position, the chances are whatever company you're working for or have worked for companies you've worked for in the past do some type of marketing, do some type of writing. That could very well be a place to get started as well too. Go to whatever department or who's ever involved with customer relations or customer communication and just say, hey, you know what, I like to write. I know the customers, I know the product, I'm part of this team. I'd like to, you know, are there any opportunities for me to write, you know, aside from whatever you're currently doing? So don't be afraid to look in your own backyard to get started, especially.
Excellent. And then just one thing on the, you know, how do you find the clients in your niche? So the example I was talking to, it was a auto and home insurance. So you can go directly obvious, which is writing for companies who are selling auto and home insurance, or you can go slightly less obvious, and that's companies who are trying to sell to the companies who are selling home and auto insurance. So it could be software systems that, you know, software companies that sell systems into insurance companies to manage their clients. It could be accounting systems. You can take it 2 ways. You can either work what's called business to consumer, and that's where you're working for the companies who are selling something to the consumer in your industry, or you can do what's called B2B or business to business, and that's working for companies to write copy who are selling products to another company. So there's companies that sell, you know, computers to you and me, and then there are companies that sell computers or divisions of a company that sell computers to companies. The copy is completely different. It's a different opportunity. Often it's less salesy on the B2B side, which is why a lot of people are drawn to it. But so that's when you're thinking about the niche and who are the companies. It's either super direct, the people in your industry that who are selling directly to the customer, or people who are targeting those companies. So software, accounting systems, any kind of services that are offered to or targeting the businesses in your industry. One other tiny thing too, some of your questions, I'm posting links to our catalog. I'm not trying to sell you anything. That's not really our thing on these calls or on this webinar. It's just that when we write a sales promo for an opportunity, if we know that writing for the financial market is a great opportunity for copywriters, we're going to dig, we're going to research, we're going to talk to the experts, we're going to talk to the marketers, we're going to find out for sure that yes, there's an opportunity, where it is, who's hiring, what the jobs look like, all of it. We do that for ourselves before we bother putting together a program. We do that before we bother mentioning it to you because we want to make sure that it is truly a viable opportunity. And we do it to write our sales copy. And so for the program that we've actually created. And so you'll find, even though they're sales promos, 75, if not 80% of it is just really good information about the industry. So if we say something like white papers and you're like, what the heck is a white paper? Go to our catalog and go look up our program on how to write white papers. There's paragraphs that will describe exactly what it is. So you can bypass all the sales information, but all of the information that you're looking for to describe, it's all right there. And for those of you who don't know the paths, different paths you can take, our catalog is a great resource because they're all listed there. Because if it's a financially profitable path, we're going to have a program on it, and it's going to be in our catalog. So that's my intention if I post any catalog links. All right, Katie, we're 45 minutes in, and we've just covered our top 5 things. So
and we get some good questions.
Really good questions. I'm so glad. This really was a random thing that Kate and I just discussed and decided to do this week. So thank you guys for participating. This has been awesome.
And Rebecca, just to you, Denise sent me a text on my phone that the internet's down at the office.
Yep, so I see it. No
worries. We're flying solo.
We're flying solo. I'm the host of this session. I don't know what that means, but I was alerted to the fact. Okay, so here's some of the questions that we get a lot of. So we're going to try to fly through these fast because if this is your question, there's a good chance a lot of these are already in the Q&A. So if this is your question, we'll go ahead and answer it. And then we'll go ahead and continue to answer questions in the Q&A, and then we'll open it up again at the end. And we will do our best to get through all of these. So Katie, I think why don't you go ahead and start?
Yeah, we have shared as many great ways as, well, there's actually so many more ways to make a living, but, what's the very best path to choose? And, I have to start with the foundation of it all, and that's copywriting, and especially persuasive direct response copywriting, which is, if you're in the accelerated program, that's what you're learning. And really, all forms of communication are based on that, and all the ways that really you can make a living as a writer start with that foundation. It's about getting somebody to take an action. It's about the power of persuasion. So that's my answer, and from copywriting, the sky's the limit. You could go anywhere. You can go into any niche, you can go into any format, you can go into really any type of industry.
I'd like to say we had a couple questions about the companion series. For those of you joining us who are also in the companion series on Tuesday, do you finish the 10 weeks with Katie and me before you move on to your niche and things like that? For those of you who don't know what the companion series is, basically AWAI's flagship program, the thing that all of our programs build off of, is called the Accelerated Program for Six-Figure Copywriting. And once a year, Katie and I walk a group through it over 10 weeks to make sure that they've got it, that they really understand it, that it's in their cells, that they can't sit down to write without applying the copywriting principles that we know you need to know to be an effective writer. That's our foundation for everything. So no matter what path you go down, we're always going to recommend that you start with that program. We're always going to recommend that you finish it first. And so for those of you in it who are asking the question, do you choose your niche now or wait till we're done with the companion series, I would say start researching now. Start playing with the ideas of the niches that you might want to be in, but don't worry about making a decision right now. We'll get to that in a few weeks. And then as we hit around like 7 or 8, as you start getting to the point where, okay, we're closing out this series and it's time for me to get out there and start working as a copywriter, that's when we're going to ask you to choose your niche. We're going to help you with that. And that's when you'll then start learning how to write that style of copy. The reason we don't want you to move on just yet and start doing them at the same time is everything you're learning in the companion series is the foundation. So if you were to learn something else at the same time, you wouldn't have that base to build on. So I'd rather you finish the companion series or the six-figure course, whichever one you're in, and then build on it from there. So that way you're applying everything that you're learning to the field that you're going to be working in. For those of you who still don't know what the companion series is and want to learn more, I will add it to my list and I will post a link to it. We've started, we're 1 week in, but if you decide that, hey, you know what, this is what I want, we will get you caught up. You can have the recording of the first session and jump in next week. So I'm putting that down.
Excellent. And if there is something that you're interested in, start collecting samples. Start signing up for e-letters in that niche. Even just put them in their own file just so that you have them. It's a great way to see who the players are, who the potential clients are. It's a great way to get a feel for what the conversations are, it's the start of a swipe file, which you'll learn about in the companion series.
So I guess I kind of answered this question. You're taking the accelerated program for six-figure copywriting, or you're with us in the companion series. Is that the best program to start with? What if I want to be a fill in the blank? Yes, it's the best program. As I said, that's where we're going to have you start. Even if you want to be a grant writer or a travel writer or whatever, if you can understand persuasion, which is what we teach in the copywriting course, it will make you better at everything. I mean, even if you're a fiction writer, it'll make you able to sell your book to publishers. It'll help you in writing your book. It's just this skill that once you have it, once you get it, once it's in you, you can't not use it, and it will serve you in any path that you take. So yes, that's the best course to start with, regardless of where you want to end up. Katie, over to you. Why don't we just jump back and forth?
Yeah, sure. I'm getting emails and offers for other programs. That's true. We do have a lot of programs, and we're very excited about them. Do I also need those to be successful? Well, that depends. With the accelerated program and the companion series, you are going to have all, the skills that you need. You will have the foundation. You will have enough insight into how you actually take those skills then and apply them to a business and start getting start getting clients and building that business. But if you decide that you want to specialize in B2B newsletters, or if you decide you want to specialize in being a health writer, or any of the specialties, then I would encourage you to continue your education and become a specialist. The big thing is to not get distracted by it. If you see something that gets you really excited, but you're not sure if you're not, put it aside. That's another, speaking of swipe files, that's another great resource to study copy and to get inspiration for copy that you were going to be doing. But one of the things that we're going to be communicating more about is helping you pick your path and then what comes next. So stay tuned for that. We're going to be having a lot more conversations about that, and Rebecca, that might even be a great topic for a next Inside AWAI, is just talking about that very topic.
Oh, I love that. Actually, and why don't we'll post a link or something in the follow-up with all of these bonuses. This list is getting kind of long, but where you can give us ideas for future topics. If you want us to continue doing this, again, we just came up with it on the fly, this Inside AWAI, but if you want us to continue and you want us to talk about anything, we're happy to put together a presentation, jump on and have a conversation and answer questions about it.
Sure, but to be very specific, as long as you're taking the accelerated program, and I do have to say that if you want to do anything in this business, that I say is a prerequisite. Anything else is really secondary. It's up to you, and it depends. If you want to accomplish something, maybe faster or specialized, then I would look into the other programs. Next. All
righty. How long does it take to start making money? How do I get started? the answer is going to be the same for a lot of these questions, and that's it depends. It really depends what you do. You know, if we've had people go through the six-figure program, and within the first few weeks just decide that they were going to start marketing themselves because they didn't want to have to wait. They wanted to be ready to hit the ground running on day one when they had the skills with their first client. Then they land the client too soon, and they come to us saying, what do I do? I've got this great client, and I'm not really prepared yet. And so it's an all hands on deck, try to get them where they need to be to get the job done. So we've got some people who are just great marketers who want to get out there and start landing clients. So it depends. If you're going to do it, if you're going to try to promote yourself every day, if you take our programs and do what we say, you know, it really does better your chances of being successful and doing it faster. So it all depends on time. Each of you has the opportunity to make money next week if you really wanted to. I mean, you just have to be able to go out, what skills can you offer, and learn how to promote yourself to the companies that are hiring those types of writers or who need those types of projects. The key is going back to something that Katie was talking about earlier, and that's deciding who you want to write for, what you want to write, and start talking to those people about it. And we'll get a little bit more into marketing here in a minute, but it's in your best interest to learn how to build a business. We have tons of resources. There are other great resources online. You know, we don't feel like INSIDE is the only person who talks about everything, you know, but we trust our own stuff because we know our experts and we stand behind what we publish. But learning how to market yourself and just being comfortable with it is really important. It's one thing, like Katie said, it's fun to have to learn the skills. That part's really fun. The business building part is scary just because a lot of us don't know what to do. But if you just learn what to do, and you can do that through reading, it will feel less scary to you. And then you just got to get out there and get started. So you can start making money fast. It's just a matter of marketing. So I will post I've got a report on how to get started. So I'm going to add that to our list. But I encourage, again, everyone to get familiar with the different ways of promoting your business and building your business and get started. It's never too soon to start marketing yourself. People always ask me, I have a webinar series that's building a website in 4 days. Even if you have zero experience, you spend 4 days, 1 hour a day with me, and I can help you put up your own website without anybody's help, writing all the copy, all of it. It's called Build Your Freelance Website in 4 days. And people always email me, I get at least a few a week, when do I need a website? And the answer is when you're ready to get clients. As soon as you're ready, as soon as you feel like, okay, I want someone to go ahead and say, you're hired, that's when you need a website. And so, again, it all depends on when you decide to start your business. Over to you, Kate.
Okay, and just one more little technical challenge. For some reason, I'm not able to answer questions. My computer, and I can see them, and I'm trying, and they keep I'm getting the wheelie thing. So.
Oh, the Mac wheel, yes.
Yes.
So we've got Cam's and Ace, we've got all these technical difficulties. Now your computers, we're down to me, guys. If I go off, then I don't know what we're going to do.
Or we'll just stick here until we answer all these questions, because there really are great ones. And I know the answers. I want to just answer them quickly. But anyway, here, okay, another common question is, in your experience, what's the most common reason that people do not succeed? And, you know, honestly, it's not finishing the program, the accelerated program. I know I'm beating this drum pretty hard, but that really is the cornerstone for anything else that you'll be doing. So, you know, that's one thing that I've seen. I would say that's the most prevalent. Another one, you know, not asking for help when you get stuck, and that probably ties back to the first one. But if you're stuck on something, or concerned or confused, or maybe, you know, so many times it's even just a question of just not, of there being some kind of misunderstanding or some, you know, something like that. Just, again, think about what the big prize is. Think about why you have raised your hand, why you're here today, and let that be the driving light, and do what you need to do to get to that. If it's doing certain projects, if it's finishing coursework, if it's asking questions. I can't stress that enough. Is that don't create some obstacle or let some obstacle stop you from your dream. The last one I would say is jumping from opportunity to opportunity, and we've talked about this a lot. And you know, do yourself the not the favor, but the I don't know what the word is, but it's you'll be doing yourself a disservice if you don't see something through and give it a best shot. You know, there is a time to say, oh, you know what, this isn't for me, but make sure you're seeing something through before jumping to the next thing.
Excellent. I had a question here, and I would agree 100% with all of your answers. I had a question there that said, it was asking about email copy made easy. Does that program include, because already people now are choosing their paths, which I love this. So now we've got people saying, okay, I'm going to choose email. This program, does it cover getting clients? One of the things that we do at AWI, when we identify an opportunity and then we seek out, you know, we get a lot of input from a lot of companies, a lot of experts to see, is this viable? Are there copywriters making good money in this industry, or whatever the case may be? And then we go seek out the expert. We always look for somebody who is not only really good at the subject matter, but who can teach and who's making a living doing it. So our experts are not theory experts. Our experts are in the field working. Like if you learn B2B from Steve Sloan-White, he's an active B2B copywriter. He's out there in the industry. That's where the majority of his revenue comes from. Teaching is a side thing that he does for us, but he's working. Same thing with Jay White, who did the email copy made easy. So we make them, in addition to teaching the skills, they have to close the program with how to get clients, how to promote myself to the companies that hire for this service. So that's a component that you'll find in every program that we put out. It was a decision that we made a few years ago, that instead of having just one centralized getting clients program, and we do have those too, in any of these specialty areas, the expert has to also tell you how they go about to get clients and how you can get started in the field. So yes. All right. I've always dreamed of being a writer, but I'm not confident I can do this. How do I know if I'm good enough? Oh, we're always going to have this. No matter how good you get, you're going to wonder this. I've been working with AWI over 12 years now. I've been in this industry over 15, and I still don't know if I'm good enough. I question this all the time. It's just something that we just have to get over. You're good enough. You will be. I mean, and you're going to get better. If you go through, let's say, the six-figure program, and you turn in your assignments, and you do all the exercises that we said that you should do, and you work hard and you try, you will be good enough. Now, are you going to get better? Absolutely. There is stuff that I published under, luckily it's under my maiden name, early on with my, I worked with AWI for a couple of years, and I thought, well, heck, I want the writer's life. I want to be a copywriter too. So I started taking the programs, and I started writing stuff, and it was good enough for AWI to publish, which was so exciting. Fast forward a decade, I have a lot more experience under my belt, and I'm mortified at some of the things that I wrote back when I got started. So you are good enough, and when you take our programs, you will know 99% more than most writers out there and companies that you're working for. So no matter what level you're at, there's a good chance that you're able to help a company do better than they're doing on their own because they don't have the copywriting expertise that you have. So just keep that in mind and know that that confidence is just this thing. It's this fake thing that comes and goes, and just don't worry. Just push it away and say, I'm good enough. I've done the work. I've done the training. Have confidence in us. We've been around almost 20 years. We've turned out so many amazing writers in the industry. We've got, story after story after story on our website. All those people who are still involved in our Facebook groups, I mean, they're all there. They've all come through. They were right where you were. They all lacked confidence. It's just part of this. So the more you can do to just get rid of it and say, I'm good enough, the better. Katie.
Oh. I heard silence, and I thought those technology gods were really yanking our chain.
No, I just got off my soapbox. I get up on those boxes, and I'm like, and scene. Like stone dropped.
Okay, this is another very common situation. I mean, I'd say this is one of the most common. You know, you may have a full-time job, and you want to know, what can I do to transition into writing for a living? And, you know, we call this making the leap. And basically, it's be as practical as you can about it. You know, figure out how much money you need to make the transition safely. Start looking for work, start looking for clients, start looking for ways to build your business, things that, you know, and it could be tough. It could mean that you're working nights or weekends on this, but, you know, you start slowly, and then gradually the scale's going to tip, and then pretty soon you'll find out that, you know, you're making enough from writing to replace your current salary. We have a lot of information about this on the website too, so we definitely have articles we can post about it. But I think it's just important that when you're looking for potential clients, you're looking for potential projects, that they be realistic, that they can fit in with your with your current situation. And, you know, and I think it's important to get your support system on board, and, you know, so that they understand what it's going to take for you to do this, from a time-wise and from a financial-wise and from a support-wise. You know, ideally, you know, retainer deals are great, and somebody asked about those, and we're actually going to be talking about this next week. A great way to kind of get this flow going is to write newsletters for companies. It's a big market. You don't hear a lot about it, but you know, in most cases, these are like, you know, once a month or maybe once a week type things, but they're steady gigs, and it's the kind of thing that is great to supplement while you're learning or while you're making a transition, or to become your whole next career. But, you know, you just want to be prudent in your planning and make sure you have all your bases covered. Roy Furr has some great information about it. You know, he called it his Independence Day date. He marked a date on the calendar, and that was the day he was going to resign from his job, and then he backed out. You know, what exactly would have to happen for him to be able to do that? And again, it's that planning and treating it like a business mentality. And I think he beat his date by, you know, like 2 months and 3 days or something like that. Ed Gandia, again, search on him on our website. He had a big full-time job, high pressure, on the road sales job, and it took him, I think, you know, 2 years or so maybe to do it. But again, he started small and built and was able to replace his income. You know, that's one other thing that I do want to touch on, and is just setting realistic goals and expectations. And, you know, we do talk a lot about, you know, all these very successful copywriters and the great lifestyles and the big money that they're making and all this. But, you know, none of them started that way on day one. It all grew. And like even, you know, Paul Hollingshead and Don Mahoney, the founders of the company, I think they made, you know, $40,000 their first year, and then maybe $80,000 the second year, and then, you know, and then they were up into the 6 figures ever since. And, you know, that's a realistic path. Is it's going to be it's not an easy button, and it doesn't happen overnight. So I always like to be sure that people have a clear understanding about it. But then, you know, you wouldn't really believe that to be true anyway. But again, it's when you keep that perspective, I think it helps. Over to you. Oh boy, lots of people are asking this question, so this is good.
How to promote yourself? Gotta love these typos. It's to say, how do you promote yourself? Again, we threw this presentation together right away to get this up and out. This is an idea that we had that we thought we could just take out some time and do this, and we did. So I apologize for the typos. But how do you promote yourself? How should you promote yourself when you are just starting out and have no experience? Remember, you don't need to worry. Let me just see. I'm going to jump ahead. Do we have a question? Yep, it's on samples. I'm going to answer both these questions at the same time. That I don't have any samples. How do I get them? As well as how do you promote yourself when you're just starting out? So one way is to leverage off past experience. For those of you staying in your industry, that's how you promote yourself. It doesn't matter. You're not going to say, I have 10 years of health insurance and 0 years as a copywriter. Give me a chance. You know, it's really all about the message. What kind of message are you hoping to deliver to potential clients? So you leverage off of the experience that you already have. That's one way. If you're entering into a whole brand new field, and again, your concern is probably that you don't have any samples, because otherwise it doesn't really matter. Nobody wants to know how many years you've been working, even though you're going to see ads like that online. Like, we're looking for somebody, a copywriter with 10 years of working experience. That's somebody who doesn't know really what a copywriter is or what makes a good copywriter. That's somebody in HR, in human resources, where a marketer handed them a request to hire a copywriter, and they put it through their template of fill in college, requirements here, fill in work experience here. Is this a senior level employee or a junior level employee? None of that matters. When you're actually looking for a copywriter, companies who truly value marketing, who know what copywriters are, they're looking for quality samples. Can you write? Do you know about my subject matter? Do you know about, who my customer is? And can you write in a way that fits the way that we speak? So writing for AWI, for example, is going to look totally different than writing for Motley Fool, a financial publication. We have different prospects. We speak differently. We talk about different things. So the best thing to do is to put together samples. Now, samples, all we're looking for when we say samples as the client is truly what it is. It's just a sample. I'm not looking for that some other company mailed it. I'm not looking to see which company you wrote it for, how many samples you have. I'm looking to say, if you are an email writer, show me some emails. Show me that you can write emails. This goes back to what Katie was saying. Once you've chosen your niche and you know what you want to do and you know who you want to write for, start signing up for e-letters and things. Get their emails, read their promotions, read their websites, listen to the way that they speak, and then write your emails like that. You can do it for a made-up company. You can do it for a made-up product. You can use assignments from our program. The way that the six-figure accelerated program used to work is that we only had one assignment. There was this big, long sales letter for a vitamin supplement. We've had so many people launch their business off that letter. They wrote the letter in the course, and then they used it as their sample for when companies, for clients who wanted samples. So it doesn't matter what it is. If you ask me, hey, I want to write for you, I'm going to say, great, send me some samples.
Rebecca, just real quick, and then we added the restaurant letter, and we've had a lot of people, get free meals, and we've also had a lot of people end up writing for the restaurants, and that became first clients as well, too.
Yep, so if you're brand new, just go ahead.
Oh, and it really goes to a key thing that I just want everyone to start doing today, and that's telling everybody that you know that you're a copywriter. We have heard, there have been stories that we will swear on oath, people standing in line at Starbucks talk to the guy in front of them. Oh, what do you do? Oh, I'm a copywriter. No kidding. Or what is a copywriter? Oh, we write sales messages. You're kidding. We need one of those. Can you have a card? It's as simple as that in a lot of cases. But if people don't know what you have to offer, what you are, that you're a copywriter, they are not going to ask you to write for them.
Very good. All right. So with that, we're an hour and 13 minutes. So I apologize for running over. We were hoping to keep this into an hour, but you guys have so many great questions that we want to make sure they get answered. So Katie, why don't we just go ahead and start firing through these? Okay.
So are you in the prioritize list or the My Q&A list?
Oh, no, I'm over in the all list. I can jump over to the prioritize.
I think Denise is back online.
Yeah, we've prioritized them, but we're not sure which ones you might have answered already.
I will go through them from the top. If you guys keep prioritizing, I'll keep clearing. We're trying to answer all of your questions, guys, but if for some reason we don't, I think what we'll do is we'll post this recording, and then we'll add comments below on the page. And that way, if for some reason we don't get to answer your question here, don't you love how I just come up with these random technical things on the fly? Like, hopefully our programmers can do that. I'm guessing that they can, but we will have some kind of feedback mechanism where you can ask questions and continue to get answers.
There's one question that I saw that I can't find right now in the list here, and I don't know who asked it, but they said, how do you find time to write when your kids, your grandkids, your husband, and your workers are all want all of your time, something like that? And I started typing an answer. You know, you set boundaries, and you let, you know, mom and you let them know that mom and grandmom and wife and husband, you know, worker, this is sacred time. Nobody talk to me. Nobody bother me. Carlene has a sign that she puts on her office door. You know, don't disturb me unless there is blood coming from your eyes. So it's up to you, and you have to enforce it. But honestly, it's like, you know, training a puppy. You know, a good week of it, of saying, you know, no, I'm not available during, you know, 10 to 12 on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. People will respect it, but you have to set the boundaries, and then you have to communicate them.
And I recommend, for those of you getting into this, you know, sit down with your family members, sit down with the people who are going to be interrupting you, and let them know that this is something that you're pursuing, and show them what you're doing, and this is your action plan, and part of that is writing every day. And there are going to be times where I have to do work for a client. I'll do my best to communicate to you when those blocks of time will be, but I need you in return to respect that when I'm working, I'm working. This is my job. Even though I'm at home and it seems really like I'm just having fun and it's a hobby, this is not a hobby to me. This is my future. This is a business, and I need you to respect that and treat it like I'm at work. I'm not here. Even though I'm physically here, like I work from home and I have glass doors in front of my office, and my little kids will come by and put pictures in the windows, things for me to see, but they know, don't touch that door handle. Like when the doors are closed, mommy is working, and this is where I need to be. So have that conversation and let them know what you need from them to support you. Well, what else, Katie?
People are asking about websites. If they need one, B, if it should be about their niche or general. Do you want to talk about that? Because
sure.
Rebecca has a fantastic program where she helps you build a freelance writer's website in 4 days, and it's fantastic. It answers all your questions, and honestly, within 4 days, you will have an operational site. So you're the website expert.
It's awesome to see all these cool websites go up so fast, and you know, my tech team is there helping you, and I'm helping you navigate copy and what do I want to be and how am I going to represent myself. And so the short answers are yes, one, you do need a website. When do you need it? When you're ready to start getting clients. And as far as does it need to be in a specific niche, it will be a heck of a lot easier for all the reasons I mentioned earlier, but also when writing it. I'm going to take you through this brainstorming exercise where we're going to talk about all of the different kinds of things you could write about, and then I'm going to help you narrow it down into the strongest pieces. And that will go a lot easier if we know who we're trying to attract to the website. Are we trying to attract a solar technology company? Are we trying to attract, you know, companies seeking out mommy writers? Who are we trying to connect with? If we know who that is, who the potential clients are, it's way easier to write your website. So I recommend choosing a niche first.
And another question that I'm seeing quite a bit here is that, you know, people are asking kind of what the process is, from how long does it take to do an assignment, from how long does it take from research to paycheck. And, you know, that's such a broad question, and it could depend on, you know, it depends on the size of the project, the amount of research available, you know, for a web, you know, how much materials that that are available to you. You know, there's so many things, but generally how it works is either you pitch an idea to a client or they come to you and say, hey, we have this idea, can you write it for us? There's a brainstorming call with team members of the team. Then you go off, and if it's a sales letter, you know, perhaps you'll write a headline and lead, send that in for feedback. There'll be a little brainstorming back and forth. Then you'll go out and then you'll go back and you'll write the rest of the letter. That could be, you know, the headline from the time of the brainstorming to the headline, that could be a week. Then you write the body of the letter. That could be another 2 weeks or 3 weeks, depending on the complexity and, you know, all the additional pieces. Then you send in your final. There's more back and forth. And believe me, everybody, you're always going to do multiple drafts. That's not a sign of failure. That's not a sign of you know, that's just a sign of how it works. There's always back and forth. There could be 2, 3, 4, even more drafts than that. It gets finalized. Then it goes and then it goes off to art to be designed, and then it gets either emailed or mailed. Some companies will pay you 50% up front, and then, you know, 50% upon when it's completed. Some people, you know, those are all different aspects of when you actually make the deal, and those are all things that are negotiable, and that not in a scary way, in a very easy way, because this is the way these marketers run their businesses. You know, that's for that's a snapshot of a sales letter. But there's so many other things that you could be paid to write, like emails and landing pages and space ads and PPC ads and case studies and, you know, all of these other things that, you know, some of the projects could be, you know, they might call you and say, help, you know, we need this email written by tomorrow, and you just decide if you want to do that or not. Or it could be that it's a way more, you know, it could be a 20 or 25-page website, which is going to, you know, maybe be done in stages. Very, very tough to answer that. But I think the question is, the underlying question or underlying fear is there trouble getting paid? And I have to say, you know, 99% of the time, no. You know, there's some bad apples every once in a while, and you would just fire them as clients. But all in all, the companies that hire you, you know, respect what you bring to the table, and they understand that they're paying you a fee for your service, and it shouldn't be a problem. People are asking about royalties as well too. Not every niche, not every project has royalties attached to it. A lot of times that's more for kind of, you know, the big three, like health and finance and, you know, some of the income opportunity, information marketing type projects. And again, it's negotiated. It could be percentage of sales. It could be anywhere from, you know, 0.5% up to, you know, 5% or more. It could be, if it's in the mail, it could be per piece mailed. These are all things that, honestly, you don't need to worry about at this point, and don't let it stop you down, you know, stop you from thinking that you're ready to go get clients because you may not know all these answers yet. You will know them when the time comes, and the clients know it, so you can even just let them lead a lot of times in these conversations, and you just decide, does this make sense, does this not make sense? Or you come to us for help.
Excellent. There are so many questions. This is great, guys, and you're asking really good questions. Actually, Kay, you jump into questions for a second. I'm going to answer just one that I answered in writing, but I just want to talk about it for a second because it kind of relates to royalties. You know, so as far as like how you make money as a writer, yes, there are royalties on some things. Typically, it's going to be more in your sales writing areas. If you're, you know, your sales letter is the thing that got in the sales, like that's the thing that actually closed people. But there's so many other ways to make a living as a writer without having that pressure, that sales type of man, I am like all of a sudden, okay, I'm going to take a step back. Royalties are one way and one of the things that draws people to copywriting. But what I think is the best, most lucrative part of copywriting are retainer deals. And for those of you who are going from full-time looking to transition into this world, that's what you're going to want to be going after. Retainer deals are basically guaranteed revenue month after month. So you put together a deal with a client to provide certain types of copy projects every month. They expect copy coming every month. They know what to expect. You expect a certain amount of money coming every single month. I posted one in the Q&A, an article series about this, but things like social media, right? Companies will pay you $2,000, $3,000 just to manage their social media accounts. They want good writers in there engaging and managing their accounts and starting good conversations and identifying things that could be turned into content over on their website. So they'll pay you a monthly fee to manage their social media and to support their promotions and things like that. But then it also opens you up to other things. You can pitch then, hey, I was in the social media chat and they were talking about X, Y, Z. It'd be great if we had a piece of content on our website about this topic. I'd like to submit a 2,000-word essay on it. Here's how much it's going to cost. So you're getting that retainer fee, plus then now you're opening yourself up to other projects. Beyond that, things like newsletters. We're going to talk about newsletters in AWI next week. Newsletters are a fantastic bridge. It's a fantastic project to get you from where you are now to where you want to be, because a newsletter, once you start sending it, you can't stop. The company cannot stop. If I tell my customers that every Monday I'm going to mail you content on XYZ, I have to mail you content on XYZ every Monday. I can't stop for even a week, because then I lose the interest of all of those people. So newsletters, fantastic way to get started. The project is, around $1,500. It's an easy thing, especially for those of you in professional areas who are working like in insurance, things like that. So many of those companies send out newsletters. Pet industry, they have customers, they have to stay in touch with them, and so they need someone to write this newsletter copy. Great retainer deal. There's lots of things like this. We have retainer deals with people for writing content. We expect 4 pieces of content from you every single month. Those are the things that will make it very easy for you to transition from a full-time job into a freelance life. And I think it's one of the best. It's worry-free. It's steady income. It's no different than having a salary from an employer. So, retainers.
Rebecca, I've lost my screen, so I can't see the question.
Oh, no. I will feed you one, and I'll get back into the Q&A. How about, let's see, I can answer that.
I'm using the phone on my computer. I'm just telling Denise, so I can't just call back in.
Oh, here, you talked about this one the other day. My background includes over 10 years as a stand-up comedian and professional script vignette writer. In your opinion, how important or valuable is the ability to include humor and written irony to your copywriting skill set? Now, the script writing is a whole other thing. I think that's a huge benefit.
Yeah, that's a huge.
Let's talk about.
I think you need to be very careful as far as humor goes and trying to include that into sales copy. What's funny for one person isn't funny for another person, and you don't want to ever be cute or you don't want to distract from the message. The whole goal is that the letter part or the screen that they're reading on almost becomes invisible, and you don't want any distractions. You want them just to go from from your headline to your lead and follow the golden thread, which is what we teach you how to do throughout it. So it's very dangerous to try to infuse copy or to infuse humor into sales copy. That being said, speech writing, I'm sure that that's a big benefit and would be a great asset for you there.
I like this. That's good. I like this one too. This person has limited time each day. What's the best way to start making money with limited time, energy? They also have a health issue. I would actually, just what I was talking about with retainers, I would focus on something very specific, a specific project type. Many of you are looking at this as like a huge career. You know, you want this to be a big career, you want a big opportunity, you want to make a lot of money, really thinking about a big, you know, I want to be a financial copywriter. That's big. But you don't have to go that big, and you can still make a really good living focusing. So I would choose something like newsletters, something where you can learn the skill fast, you can get up and running, there's a retainer deal attached to it, and the projects are short. You're not having to spend 70 hours to complete a project, but rather you're spending a couple of hours, and you're able to close one out, and then the next day, close one out. Emails are another great one. Email Copy Made Easy. That's our program that shows you how to write email copy. You're talking 300 to 500 words. Most of us can bang that out in a short amount of time. So I would just focus on things that have quick projects, steady income, and fast turnaround time. Katie, how much face time can you expect for a job? Do you travel to them, or do you do it online?
FaceTime?
Yeah, like not FaceTime on our phones like you and I meet on Monday, but actually like face-to-face. It has a new meaning.
I mean, well, so many of our writers are members that we've met through boot camp and things like that, so we know, but the majority of the writers we work with, we don't deal with face-to-face. I think, you know, I think it depends on if you're going to work for local businesses, then it's good to have some face-to-face meetings. You know, it's always great when you can be face-to-face for brainstorming and things like that. But actually being in the room or having those kind of meetings is not expected really at all, I don't think. It's a nice to have when it can happen, but it certainly doesn't stop companies from hiring you.
No, and for those of you outside the U.S., same thing. You don't need to be in the U.S. As long as you can be on a meeting if you need to by phone. So you might have to get up, those of you in Australia might have to get up at 3 in the morning. Other than that, as long as you can meet your deadline and write in English, it doesn't matter where you live. Or for those of, you know, our friends who want to retire overseas or just have a little bit of flexibility and freedom that comes with the writer's life, wherever you are. I personally would prefer not to meet in person because it's time, you know, it's time taken away from both of us. Not meet in person, but I mean, when working on projects, we typically collaborate over phone and email. Okay, guys, we are an hour and a half, so we're going to be closing this down soon, but let me just see if there's any other new ones. For those of you telling me about your background and you're looking like this was an elementary school teacher for 22 years, but no longer wish to work for the school system, anyone, whatever background you have, you can go direct where you're in that same industry, or you can just think about how do my skills apply to another industry. So, for example, if you're a teacher, you understand education. You understand what it means to instruct someone. You understand from the student's perspective. So it doesn't have to be the school system, but you could be in online training in any topic. I mean, you could just pick a topic that you're interested in. Let's say you are passionate about yoga. You know, you could go after companies who put together yoga training and write specific copy and help them develop better training programs and using your educational background as it applies to that industry. So try to think beyond, you know, how, if you don't like your industry, you don't like what you do, how can what I've learned here, what other industries are relevant? Katie, a couple money questions. Have no money coming in, how do I start copywriting? I can't afford courses, where can I go to get the skills I need? What are your recommendations for people who are, you know, not quite able to make any kind of investment right now?
Sure. Well, you know, we have so much free content on our website. I would definitely start there. Go to the article archives, sign up for our e-letters, and search the topics that you're interested in, getting started, skill building. I would go to the library and read as many of the classic direct marketing books that you can, the Ogilvy's, the Hopkins, the Caples. You know, these, you know, you do a search on, you know, the masters of copywriting or the founders of copywriters. You know, those principles that they teach still apply and are certainly very valuable. you know, Will Newman, who's one of our master instructors and been a copywriter for 25 years, he got started because he found Bob Bly's book, Copywriter's Handbook. He found it in a bookstore that many years ago. You know, there's plenty of, there is that kind of information available, and really study it and you know, take it seriously. Study the emails that you get and think about, you know, understand that there is a structure. There is a method to the madness there, and you know, figure that out and try to emulate it. And think about companies or organizations, either local or you know, otherwise, that you could help, that you have something to offer, that you can add to the conversation that they're having with their customers, and offer to write, you know, blog posts, or you know, see where there's a way for you to contribute. You know, we haven't really touched on this yet, but you know, it's something that we do talk about a lot when we're talking to members too. Is, you know, the value of bringing ideas to these companies, either ways that, you know, if you're, especially if you're a customer of a company, and if there's something that you would like them to produce that they don't, or you know, something that you think might be missing, you know, offer to do it for them. Or if there's a way that they could offer, you know, I think it's basically, if there's something that you're missing, or if you have something to add to the conversation, let them know about it and go from there. I think that's really what I would do if I were in that situation.
Oh my goodness, guys, these are great questions. I'm gonna say we'll do like 5 more minutes, and then we're gonna have to shut it down. What is a master copywriter? How does one qualify?
Well, you know, it's a term. I think we actually coined that term, and it's people that have been in the business for a while and have a level of success and respect and education, and wins under their belt, experience. You know, it's not like a degree or anything like that. It's a term of respect that we use for the real pros of the industry. You know, and it really, I think it started is because we were so excited and honored, and we recognize the value of so many of the greats that we work with and that contribute to our programs, and I think we kind of started using that term in respect to them.
I can knock out some of these really fast. Can we ask for half of the payment in the beginning? Yes, and you should. Either that or even thirds. If you're working on a big project, I'd say, you know, where it's going to be long, a third up front, a third at first draft, and then a third at final. So definitely ask for money. What if I have a fear of commitment? Only one-time gig, get a paycheck, then do another one. What would you recommend for Sharon?
Well, I'd say try it and see if it works for you.
Hopefully you'll find someone that you love and you want to keep getting more assignments from them.
I think it makes your job harder. I think you know, you're putting extra burden and extra work on yourself, you know, and honestly, when we're working with writers, we want to start a relationship. We want a long-term relationship, because you don't have to, you know, reteach everything every time, and there becomes a institutional knowledge that becomes very valuable. So I mean, you know, try it. I mean, I wouldn't go in and say, hey, I'm only going to write one letter for you. You know, I wouldn't start the conversation that way, but you know, you don't have to make that decision right now, or you don't have to worry about it right now. I would just get the first assignment and then see how it goes.
when a client has decided to hire you, should the copywriter and the client sign a contract?
Most times, you know, there are some jobs where sometimes it's just an email fine, but you definitely want to have the terms of the agreement in writing and both understood. And it can be something simple as I'm going to write a 3-email series on this. The deadline is this. The fee is this. Everybody agrees. You know, then they go to more elaborate agreements where, you know, you're agreeing that, you know, there's no plagiarism or everything that you know to do is factual and those kind of agreements. But yeah, it certainly is a good idea to be sure that there is some written documentation. But that being said, you know, you don't have to go to lawyers or, again, that's not something that should stop you from taking a job. It's not something that should stop you from starting to look for a job. If you're dealing with companies that have any experience at all, then these things are already in place.
Okay.
Before I saw somebody who said that they liked me so much they wanted them twice a month. I don't know that we can do that, but we'll definitely keep doing them based on this one.
Yeah, this is I don't think we've ever had 207 questions in a webinar before. So we think you guys like this, which is great. I think we're going to have to call it, though. I'm just thinking if there's anything else that we haven't talked. Some of you are asking about web stuff. What did you say? Many social media managers are making per month right now. It really, all pricing depends on the company and the scope of the project. How many social media outlets do they have? What exactly are you doing for the job? On average, though, I'm seeing around $2,000 to manage a social media account for a month. For those of you who are asking the questions about web projects, SEO, trying to decide between them, where is the overlap, I'm actually doing a webinar, and we haven't even announced it yet, but I'll be doing it next Tuesday night at 7 p.m. The webinar is going to be with Nick Usborne, who is he's the one who created the whole idea of an online copywriter, somebody who focuses on writing for the web. He was one of the first. He's the most well-known, and he's a really amazing teacher. He's going to be talking all about the web opportunity, what all the projects are, where all the money is, how to land them. He's so good with not only showing you the what, but also the what and the why, but also the how. Like, how do you actually get in there? What does the day in the life of a web writer look like? So for those of you who are interested in writing for the web or have no idea and you just want to explore a path, there will be an email that goes out on Sunday. So definitely check that out, and it will be on Tuesday at 7 o'clock. So hopefully you can join us. And if you have any web-related questions, we'll do the same thing then. We'll open it up, and you'll be able to ask us anything that you need. All right, guys, we are going to call it. Katie, unless there's something else you
I think we've covered it. Although we could talk about copywriting and AWAI and our members and all this stuff all day, really. I mean, it is one of our favorite things to talk about.
We love it. We love you guys. We love this company. We love the industry. We truly live and breathe this. This is everything to us. And so if there's ever anything that we can do, again, this was a random idea that we came up with to see if it was helpful. We're here. So if there's anything that we can do to help you be successful, do let us know. This is what we do. This is what we're all about. We want to help. So just let us know what you need. Wrapping up, we will send out on Monday, just to give our tech team some time to pull all this stuff together. I'll send you an email that has just kind of a wrap-up, some of the top-level stuff that we talked about today, including some of the info from the slides. And I'll send you the recording and then all of the freebies we talked about, from the 31 writing prompts, info on how to choose a path. I'll send you the pricing guide. I'll send you info about the companion series and the freelance website series, how to get your foot in the door with clients. There's a bunch of points that we touched on. So I'll pull together a series of freebies just so that you have all of the answers at your disposal, you know, if you have that question now or when you have it. Katie, anything else?
No. Well, thank you, everybody. This is this is why we do what we do. It's this kind of enthusiasm and great questions and excitement and potential. You know, I keep coming back to the word potential. You know, I'm so excited. I know we're going to get some great successes out of this group, and you know, we're going to be shouting it from the rooftop when it happens. So that's another thing. Not only call us if you need help, call us with your wins, call us with successes. That makes our day.
We love to celebrate. All right, everyone.
All right.
Have a wonderful weekend.
Wrap it up.
Go
Bye,
fight
everybody.
win. Bye.
Bye.